Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. We post an interview with an amazing Canadian each weekday for your daily inspiration. Today, I would like to introduce you to my sister Roxanne Curtin's dear friend, Danielle Klooster. Danielle was born in Edmonton. She has 3 children, 1 stepdaughter, and 8 grandchildren, soon to be 9. So exciting. She tells me that if she knew that grandkids were going to be this much fun, she would have had them first. So fun. My dad used to say the same thing. Besides Danielle's family, she is extremely passionate about social issues, and even though she calls herself a recovering politician, she still cares very deeply. I think that is through and through for you, Danielle, for as long as I've known you. Thank you for all your service. She also loves socializing with friends and loves travel. And you'll find her full bio attached. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Catherine. It's a wonderful privilege.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. Are you ready to go through the questions?
I sure am.
Awesome. Okay, so the first one, what has been your greatest challenge in the last few months?
Well, you know, the funny thing is that you end up having to walk the talk. And when in my coaching practice, a lot of the work that I do and a lot of the messaging that we offer in my business, Sharp Women, is about how to set yourself up for success by doing mindset work and mindfulness work. And when you coach that, and then we go into this time of massive uncertainty, and things are changing so rapidly, and the atmosphere is so supercharged with anxiety and fear and even frustration and anger, you know, you end up having to really discipline yourself to practice mindfulness and to unpack those mindset tools. And I have found that to be a challenge in terms of keeping myself on track with my mindset and practicing mindfulness. And I have a determination that I don't walk into an atmosphere and let the atmosphere dictate to me what I'm going to feel. I walk in with what I walk in with, and I set the atmosphere. And that has been a real challenge during this time to stay consistent with that and not be impacted by the fear and uncertainty. And building a new business during this time, when, you know, the ground is shifting and all the parts are moving all the time, that's been really, really interesting. And you can either feel like, oh no, this is a terrible time and it's not going to work, and all of the challenges, and you can look at the mountains, or you can see where those pockets of opportunity are and adapt quickly and move into those opportunities. So that's what my business partner and I are working to do on a regular basis, and it really means being very, very nimble and responsive to those opportunities and the emerging trends, which can sometimes change weekly, right? So
yeah. Or daily, or minute by minute right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's been both. It's been a challenge, but a great challenge. Like, it's made me sharper. It's made me have to really practice those things when it's hard and when you're tired and when you just want to, you know, curl up with a book and a blanket, to actually be like, no, I gotta stay present. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
very good to be mindful and stay present. That's a good message. And what are your 3 things that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Well, so it's funny because I actually have a workshop that I deliver called the 3-legged stool with all those 3 things. And the 3-legged stool is essentially a process for building a business where, if you imagine a stool with 3 legs, the entrepreneur or the business is the seat. And of course, you don't want to just have a seat on the ground, a disc that sits on the ground. You need to build those legs. So the 3 legs are, number 1, product or service. So obviously, when you want to start a business and build a business, you're focused on whatever that product or service is going to be. And for most entrepreneurs, The temptation is to really just focus there. All your thoughts, your eating, sleeping, drinking, breathing, that product or service. But if you only focus on that, you've got a pogo stick, not a stool, right? And I don't know about you, but I can't last very long on a pogo stick. It's not stable. And I'm not that coordinated. So entrepreneurs know, well, of course, I have to have a business in order to facilitate me getting my product or service to market. And so they think to themselves, okay, I'm going to get a brand, get a website, register my business, get a bank account, and voila, I have a business, right? But there's actually a whole step-by-step series of processes that go into building that leg. And it has to happen in tandem with building your product or service leg. There's steps that have to be taken. And then the third leg, which is potentially actually the most important leg, and it's the most overlooked leg, is that personal leg. So have I talked with my family? Do I have their support to do this? Do they understand what it's going to mean from a time commitment, from a financial commitment standpoint? Am I in a position in my life where I can and should start a business? And then what are the mindset obstacles that are going to stand in my way? Am I going to sabotage myself? Am I going to engage in perfectionism where I've got that paralysis of analysis that is going to keep me from actually pulling the trigger on things? So there's a whole series of things in the personal leg and that's hardest because it sort of is this gray shapeless blob that we don't know necessarily what it means. And so we don't know how to tackle that. But if you're working on building those three legs of the stool all at once, and of course, I recommend working with a business coach to do that. I think that's super important that you have somebody working with you, bringing you those tools and resources to help you get that done. Then you're going to build a rock solid business. The thing is that as entrepreneurs, we go from idea to tactics, and we just jump into doing the things. And we miss that whole strategy piece that needs to happen first, because it doesn't feel like we're doing something, but it's actually something that will save you a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of heartache and headache if you will engage in strategy as part of building your business. So not only do I coach that and train that, I actually, because I am in eyeballs deep in building a new business right now, I'm actually living that out right now. So I think that that's a really critical thing for your listeners to know, that this is how you build a stable business. And if you don't know what goes into each of those legs, then there are business resources, Business Link, BDC, other resources where you can tap into your community futures office, those sorts of things where you can get that, get the tools and the understanding and knowledge that you need to build your business. So in this time when a lot of people are looking to entrepreneurship as a new way forward, if they've been laid off or if their prospects are not working out from the job standpoint, I think we're going to see an explosion of entrepreneurship. And so it's really, really critical, because 7 out of 10 businesses fail, that we lower that number by mitigating risk with effective strategy and planning.
I love it. Thank you, Danielle. May we go off script a little bit?
Oh, yes.
So I know you deal with leaders all the time through your coaching side of your practice.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of conversations are you having with them regarding their mental health and their team's mental health currently?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the conversation is around, so a lot of leaders have had to lay off staff. And so suddenly, instead of being the CEO, they're the COE, the chief of everything. And they're looking at cost and they're playing small. They go into their small selves and start letting fear and panic drive the bus. So I use the quote often, a fool is one who knows the cost of everything and the value of nothing. Your job as an entrepreneur and as a leader is to engage in the top revenue generating activities. So if you're going to continue to build, this might be a time for going back and looking at your processes and reflecting and tweaking. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is to understand that there's a time to invest in your business. And that means outsourcing. That means having other people do things for you. You should not be, time is not elastic. You can't make more. And so if you're just going to continue to stretch your time, that's a very short-term strategy that is not sustainable, and it is not going to build your business. It's not going to. So asking leaders to challenge themselves and move out of the small fear mindset into their large self and still focused on going in the direction of my thoughts and those sort of things, that's a real challenge because fear is a very powerful thing. In terms of mental health, that's still the ticket right there. If I don't discipline myself to come out of fear and to live in my large self, go in the direction of my thoughts, know who I am, know what my goals are, and move in that direction, that should not have changed. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, things are messy. But it doesn't change who I am, it doesn't change what my goals are, and it doesn't change my path to building those things. So to stay in that place and not allow yourself to be swayed or bowed over by whatever the circumstances are. There'll always be something. There'll always be something to be afraid of. There'll always be something bad happening in the economy or in health or in something. The best thing that a leader can do for themselves is learn to have that strong, centered, focused approach. And whatever is going on around you, you got to stay the course. You see the movies where, there's a war and it's a battlefield scene. And then the leader just comes walking through and you're thinking, how are you not worried that you're going to take an arrow or a bullet or get run over by, they're all fighting around you. But you see that leader that shows up and you feel the power of their presence. And suddenly everybody just kind of goes, whoa, what's happening, right? And it can change your environment. It can change your environment. So that is basically what I'm coaching leaders on right now, is how to stay centered, present, and stay the course for themselves and their businesses.
Very cool. Thank you, Danielle. And the last question, with the good news or legacy story, is there something you'd like to leave the audience with today?
Yeah, and it all ties into everything we've been talking about, Catherine. Instead of asking, oh no, what is happening? What's happening? And how do I respond to what's happening? Instead of asking myself that, if I ask, what is possible? And I sit and I listen and I'm paying attention. Yes, I'm paying attention to what is going on around me, but not from the perspective of, oh no, what is happening and how do I protect myself? But from what is happening and what is possible in what is happening. With Sharp Women, the brand that I'm building with a business partner, that is the message we're carrying to women, is that we want you to look at what is possible based on who you are and what you bring to the table and what the possibilities are out there. And if you'll sit with that, the strategies will come, the opportunities will open up in front of you. And then your job is to take inspired action on what is possible. This is a time for tremendous creativity and tremendous innovation. This is not a time to shutter the windows and hide. This is a time to be creative and innovative. And folks would not be leaders if they didn't have that in them. So it's time to press into that and pull it out.
Lean in. Hey, Danielle.
Lean in. That's it. Don't check out. Check in.
Words of wisdom, my dear friend. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely.
Thank you, Danielle. Everybody, that was Danielle Klooster, amazing friend here in Alberta, doing great work. Thank you again for joining us today on Cat's Track, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.